I was going to go ahead and just show you something that I started last night. I wanted to go ahead and show you what it looks like partially dry. And so you can see up close the colors that I'm using today are for the flower. I've picked a purple, a royal blue, and a pink. And for the green leaves, I've chosen just 2 colors. So I'm going to use, I've labeled these 1 through 5 because they don't have a number. And as you can see, I put the little numbers right here. Yeah, right there. And so I've chosen this one numbered number, oh, I went and sharpened them and it already took the number off, forget that. But it was these 2 colors that I chose for the leaves. And so let us get started. You know, whenever I'm not sure which direction I'm going to go in, I always pick 3 colors. And I may have, you know, varying shades of one color, like 2 purples, a blue, and a pink. But they're always going to be 3 coordinating colors. And I may expand after that and choose other colors to go along with it. But for the most part, this is how I usually start. This is how Terri's brain works. So, and I also tend to color in groups. So I may start with, you know, all of the leaves. And, oh, I better put my glasses on. I'm not going to be able to see. Hang on. Here we go. So I'll start with, say, for example, the leaves first. And I'll just put a little bit of color in there. And sometimes I'll just do right at the base of the leaf, or the petal, the leaf petal. And I'll just, you know, move rather quickly. I don't take a whole lot of time. I move rather quickly. And I don't worry too much about coloring outside the line either. And so I'm just going to try to hit a little bit of color. You don't need a lot of color because these colors, a little color goes a long way. And so, you know, if you fill in the entire image with color, you're just not going to have, you're going to have too much. And so you'll end up having to do a lot of blotting. So I like to just put a little bit of color in there, and I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of my other shade of green. And a good tip that I got once from Lindsay Ostrom, she said it never hurts to leave a little bit of white. And I often do that. I leave a little bit of white, and I just think it gives it a little special something. I don't know what exactly, but it just looks good. So I've got a little bit of color, and now I'm going to go ahead and make sure my water brush is primed, and it is. Let me get my paper towel, just in case I do too much color. And I'm just going to kind of blend those together and work rather quickly, and then I'm going to move on to the flowers. Is everybody seeing everything? I don't think there's a way I can zoom in here. Hey, Cousin Tracy. My Cousin Tracy from Georgia. She's from New York as well. I'm a native New Yorker and transplanted here in the South. But I've lived most of my adult life here in the South. And married a boy from Wedowee, Alabama. Shout out to Wedowee. All right. I think we've got enough color. There we go. So that's the green. See how quickly that was done. Now for my royal blue, I started with royal blue here at the base of each of the flowers. And there's a couple ways you can get your color on there. I don't want a direct color. I could, but for today I'm just going to show you a different way of coloring instead of direct coloring. You can, you know, use other surfaces. This is parchment paper. This is a craft mat, but look here, it doesn't really color well onto the craft mat. It just doesn't grab, the color doesn't grab. So one way that I transfer my color to a craft mat is to just go ahead and take my water brush and wet the tip and just go ahead and lay some of the color down. And then I can go ahead and add more color once the brush is wet. So that gives me a little bit of color to work with. And also, if I want to dilute some color, I'll just squeeze a little bit of water on there, and I can work with that later as well. So that's my royal blue color. I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and prep the other two colors as well. And always be sure you blot your color in between, because if you don't, the color gets up into the, what do you call it? The, not the funnel. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, the color can seep up into the brush, up into the thing here. Okay. All right, so there's some of the purple color laid down. Put some more here. All right. Blotting my brush. And let's finish off with the pink. We're just making our own little palette here is what we're doing. Hey, Holly Rebecca. And let's see. Cassie. Hey, Cassie. Cassie is a friend. Our kids are in band in separate schools. And band is a big part of our life. And she's also my crafting buddy. We traveled to the Scrapbook Expo, which is coming up in July. Cassie, are you going? I don't know if I'm going or not yet. All right, so there's the pink. I think I've got enough of that laid down. And if I need more color, I'll just come back and grab it later. But I did want to show you also about coloring with parchment paper if you don't have a craft mat handy. Not to give a shameless plug, but yeah, I'm going to give a shameless plug. I started a new video series called Crafty Friday Night, and so it's just 1-minute videos where I give little craft tips and craft hacks. And recently, well, my first episode was actually about using parchment paper as a craft palette. So there you go. Now you've seen that. All right, we're going to start with the royal blue. And I hope y'all are not bored still silly. I hope, you know, if I ramble, I'm so sorry. I do have a tendency to ramble. That's just me. But once I get to coloring, you will quickly see that I get my Bob Ross voice. I also have a very twisted sense of humor, so you'll have to just put up with it. But anyway, I've got the royal blue as my base. And I'm going to get this parchment paper out of the way. And let's see, one more. I tend to work in clusters. You know, I will tend to do all of my greenery first. Then I will do all of my flowers that are similar and all my butterflies. I don't know why I do that, but I do. I work in clusters. And you know what? I really want a little bit of a darker royal blue here, so I'm going to go ahead and get my watercolor pencil and just grab the color directly from the pencil and get a little bit of a darker shade. Can you see? I was trying to figure out a way that I could zoom in on the video, but I could not figure out a way to zoom in, so I don't know. Maybe that feature's just not available. I don't know. So this is how I like to color often. So you're getting a little glimpse into my brain. And I'm sure some of you do the same thing. And for some of you, this is probably old news. You probably know these things already. But for those of you who don't, and you're newbies, and if you are a newbie, hey, say, hey, I'm a newbie. Hey, Christine. Hi, honey. So now I'm moving on to the purple, and I'm going to layer that next, just right above the blue. And I will eventually, as you will see, I'm going to blend some of these colors. And I'm going to dilute that a little bit so it's not so bold right there, because we're going to, how do you say, gradient? I'm going to have a gradient effect where, as you can see here, the colors get lighter as they go towards the top. Did I say that right? Because my English is lacking sometimes. Can everybody hear me? Hey, Madge, what's up? So yeah, if you can't hear me, turn up your volume or tap the screen. But if you can't hear me, then you can't hear me say that. So, all right. So here we are. We're working with the violet, working on getting all the colors on here. Does anybody have any questions? Madge, you just hush. Yeah, okay. Thank you, though. All right, so I'm going to add a little bit more color here directly from the brush. And then I'm going to work on the pink. And you see how even sometimes you can just get one swipe of the color and use it on just several things. Alright, I think I want to pull some of the color up, so I'm going to blot my brush a little bit and just pull the color up, because I don't want any harsh lines. And I'm going to show you a little trick later for getting rid of some of those harsh lines. And I hope I don't run too much over my time. They told me if I took more than 10 minutes that would be okay, so and like I said, I tend to just think off the top of my head. I really don't have a script or anything planned to say. So, let's see. Alright, let's do the pink. I'm just going to get some pink and blend it in here with the purple. And you'll see the color get lighter as we go towards the top. I don't want the pink to be as strong as the other colors. And I hope you'll stick around, because when I get done with the flowers, I'm going to show you how to do some really pretty embellishing on the background with watercolors. So that's coming up next. And this little petal right here, I need to add some of that royal blue here, because I did over here as well. It was an open inside petal. In fact, I'm going to blot that and start over with some of that blue right there. Right there. I'm going to let that dry a little bit before I proceed. Put some blue right there for that inner petal. Oh, and here's one down here too. Okay. And if any of our colors get, you know, mixed in like that one just did, that's okay. So I'm not going to worry about it. All right, back to the pink. So I'm filling in the pink with these top petals and trying to keep it sort of light at the top. And we're almost through. Oh, that one's bleeding over a little bit. Let's see. But you know what the great thing is about doing this is you can mess up and it still looks great. You know what I mean? All right, so that's not too bad. I think I'm okay with that. Let's get this right here. Now, one of the things I like to do for backgrounds is, you know, just pull in some of the color from the actual elements that I used, some of these same colors, but I want to dilute it a little bit more so that it's like a faded color, really, really faded. So I'm going to put a little bit of water, extra water, onto my craft mat and pull some of these colors and just get a lighter shade of, I'm going to do the purple. And I'm just going to draw, oops, well, that's too much water. Let's blot that. My water pen is flowing. I think I overfilled it and it's just really flowing heavy. All right, I'm just going to, there it goes again. Crafter problems, people. Look, see, do you see that? My water pen is just dripping and I don't know why. Yeah, like I said, I think I put too much water on there. All right, I'm just going to grab some pink. Let's just be done with it. Or we could be here all day, and I know you don't want to be here all day. All right, I'm just going to put that spot down. And I might need to go just get a paintbrush at this point, since my water brush has just gone mad. I'll put a circle here. And let's see, can y'all still see what I'm doing? I've got this in portrait view, and to be honest, I've never done a live video where I had to switch my camera to the desktop view. So I wasn't sure. I'm still not crazy about that big old blot of water right there. All right. Okay, now what I'm going to do is take a paintbrush and just use the bottom tip of the paintbrush, and I'm going to dip it into some of the color, but I need a little more color. So I'm going to grab some of this purple and put it back on the craft mat. And now, hopefully I've got enough to where I can do what I want to do. doesn't work. Well, because another thing is I do a lot of experimenting right with everyone else watching, and so that's just because I'm kind of stubborn that way. And I'm just going to take my my tip of my paintbrush and just drop it some color in, some like faux paint splatters. Just go around and put them here and there. And I usually let these colors dry by themselves. I like the natural look of how the splatters dry rather than using a heat tool. Of course, if I was in a big hurry, I could use the heat tool to speed things along, but I'm not in a big hurry. So that's just something you can do to add a little bit of embellishment to your project. And let me see, what else did I want to talk to you about? Okay, I want to talk to you about white gel pens. Now, some of you I know don't care for them. I know my friend Pam doesn't like them. She's told me before I really don't like white gel pens. But I use these for so many things. And, I mean, they make great little embellishments. And, I mean, just to add some little white spots here, you know, there's just something about adding these little bitty embellishments that are so pretty. I love them. And sometimes I'll use like a black glitter pen. Sometimes I'll put those on the leaves. Just little dots here and there. It just kind of gives a little neat effect. And I do that often on my projects. But I wanted to show you about these harsh lines right here. I let these dry overnight and I let them be a little bit harsh. And I'm going to go ahead and blot some of this stuff right now. Just blot it. There we go. Blotting everything. Okay. And I'll take the white gel pen and just color in a little bit so that I can kind of erase those harsh lines. And I will use my water brush to move that color around and try to smooth out the harsh lines. So let's do that. Let's see, let me blot my water brush. And hopefully it won't start flowing like crazy again. So this helps just kind of blend in a little bit and remove some of the harsh lines. It's kind of like magic. See? So that is basically your coloring tips for today. I've made a nice little mess here. And does anyone have any questions? I guess not. I've so appreciated Adornit having me here today. I hope you'll follow me on social media at Waving My Wand. Before I completely sign off, I did have a couple other things I wanted to show you. You know, I love the art play books. I mean, the mini coloring books. And I made a card using elements from the Gnome Life where I just colored up a bunch of the images and fussy cut them and put them on a card. And so think about that. You don't have to limit yourself to just, you know, the one image on a card. I mean, this is beautiful, but you don't have to limit yourself. There are so many other options that you can do. And putting backgrounds, colored backgrounds on your card, I like to do those as well. I recently did this little mermaid image designed by Lindsay Ostrom. And I started out with the royal blue, and I went ahead and directly colored on here and then just spread the color with the water brush. And then I put a lighter blue here and then back to dark blue on the background. Here's another one that features a colored background. See how close up I can get with that. I did sort of a galaxy background on this. This was a Christmas card. I couldn't part with it, so I had to keep it. You know, there's some things that we do, we just can't get rid of it. And I meant to mention this image is from the With Love collection, designed by Catherine Scanlon. And I don't know if y'all are aware of this, but I noticed when I was looking at the event page that Adornit just marked down the coloring bundle almost in half. It was originally $42. So you're getting like a trio of water brushes in varying sizes, the 36-piece Adornit watercolor pencils, and I'm not sure what else, but for the price they've cut it in half, you need to jump on that. And hey, if you want to learn more about coloring and get more advanced with it, then be sure you visit adornitshow.com and check out the masterclass. It's an amazing, intensive, yet work at your own pace class. And I'm not finished with it yet myself, but it's awesome and I'm loving it and learning so much. So be sure that you check that out as well. So go to adornit.com, check out the coloring supply bundle that's on sale. You don't want to miss out on that. They don't put those on sale very often. Hey, Miss Carolee. And so this is it for me, I believe. If no one has any questions, I appreciate y'all letting me pop in today, and have a good rest of the day. I'll see you later.